we have an opportunity here that I could not miss. I could not miss it for the sake of who we are as descendants of Africa, African Americans, and those of us who refer to ourselves as Black Americans. And I say with a capital B. There's this familiar face sitting here who's known in Minnesota and around the country. And we'll talk about this. I dubbed this another Black American Chronicle. And this legend and the legacy of the name Battle. And we're going to talk up close and personal about her new book. And I am your host, Apostle SB Barber. And sitting by me is Dr. Thelma Battle Buckner.
Battle Buckner.
Did I just do?
That's Thelma Battle Buckner. That's okay. Either way, it's the same thing.
Oh my goodness. I got tongue right then and there. Dr. Thelma Battle Buckner. And of course, I know that. And I believe this is a great opportunity. Thank you, Facebook Live. You're not going to be disappointed in this moment. This is a chronicled moment and legacy. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm well. I'm well. When I walked in, we are here actually on the facility and the black carpet experience for Black Women Expo and Job Fair. And lo and behold, who do I bump into? Our eyes met and it was on. And that is Dr. Battle Buckner. Thank you for joining me. I had to do this. This is about legacy. And you look absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, on my bad day.
If that's on your bad day. All right. What's been going on? Just kind of, where are you right now?
Well, I live in St. Paul. I pastored Gospel Temple Church for 15 years. And 2 years ago, I turned it over to my son, who got his degree from Luther. He is Pastor Dwight Buckner. He's my second son. Out of 8 children, I got four boys and 4 girls. And Dwight went to Luther Seminary and got his degree. And I appointed him pastor of the church. I felt like I was getting too old for the job. Not that I couldn't continue to tell the word of God, but I didn't want to listen to all the problems that went along with handling the church. So a younger mind, a younger body, a younger spirit was able to take over.
And you know what's so powerful about that? Your legacy, your wisdom is at his back. And that's powerful. Wisdom and youth combined together. So that's credible that you would pass on the baton. However, you're still here and he's able to pull from and glean from your wisdom. The issue is he willing to do that?
Well, he's willing as far as delivering the word of God. He might be a little uncomfortable with his mom sitting there listening at everything, afraid I might correct him on
critique.
Yeah, but I won't do that until we get along at the dinner table. Then
yes.
I'll tell him if he did something that was out of order. And he's not doing that. He's very well trained.
Yes.
He was the administrator for the church for 20 years before I turned it over to a pastor. So he know all the roles now. He can do everything. Not that he's willing to do all the stuff that a normal pastor would do, but he's learning. He's getting there. Give him 20 more years, and he'll be where he needs to be.
Is he married?
Unfortunately, no. We tell him there's one thing missing in his life. He needs a first lady. but I don't think he's too anxious because I don't see him shopping around any.
And that can be a benefit. All right, all right. How's the family doing?
Family is doing great. We're blessed. Blessed to be alive and in our right mind, which is really important. And all of us, my siblings, well, we've grown old already. The youngest one is 75, and that's Bob. We've all grown old, but we're highly blessed to be yet in the land of the living and able to think and go about our daily chores, without much problem. So I'm just happy to yet be alive. This month, I see my 84th year.
You are amazingly beautiful, and you wear it in such grace.
Well, thank you. Thank you. God bless you. I'm just doing the best I can. Got a few aches and pains, but overall, I'm doing really well. Doing really well. I have no complaints, really, whatsoever.
All right. I had the privilege of doing a Black Chronicle. I love breaking inroads. I'm not really the one that stays between the lines all the time, because sometimes we need to press beyond status quo. And I wasn't satisfied with the fact that within our school systems, and especially educating our Black children, they don't have the history of who we are as a people. And I mean right in their own state or where they transitioned from, relocated from. When I relocated from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and having the legacy of the Black Wall Street and my grandparents and pioneering 17 churches around the United States and et cetera, and they hovered over me as knowing the anointing on my life, et cetera. But the thing that really touched my heart was realizing that when I came to Minnesota, I didn't really see a lot of chronicles, things that I could just put my hands on. So after being here a very short time, I ran across a book, and it was about Cecily Newman, the then Minneapolis spokesman, St. Paul recorder. And now it is the state of Minnesota spokesman recorder. And it's at the helm is his daughter, Tracy Williams Diller. I read that book, and it became my best friend. It became my mentor, because that's my background, journalism, etc., broadcasting, and I just couldn't get enough of it. And I read it from cover to cover. And then one day, bright light came on, and I said, I've got to do a chronicle on this man. This book must be in our schools. So that's my soapbox, and that was my commercial concerning that. Leading up to this, to walk into the Black Women's Expo and job opportunities, jobs for any and everyone that's willing to come out and talk with these employers. Sitting here in the open area at the book table, I had now understood that it was necessary to take this moment and do this now, not wait and try to produce and do all of those things. Young people absorb right where they're at on Facebook. So Facebook Live, stay with me. And thank you for joining us, those of you that are joining in now and will watch this after. This book, The Battle of
A Daytime Nightmare.
Wow. Okay, who did that come out of? Whose mind did that come out of?
It was my experience. When you get about halfway the book, I think it will explain itself. The daytime nightmare. Most nightmares happen at night. This one, at the age, I was 12 years old, and something terrible happened in the Southland, and it was an act of injustice against my parents on my birthday. That became the nightmare. And my parents, I thought, was the strongest human being in the world, but they couldn't do anything about what had transpired right in our face. Nothing they could do about it.
Are you able to, even though we know you're going to get this book, you heard the title, but reality is what it is. A lot of those nightmares are still happening as we are speaking. What happened?
Well, rather than tell the whole story, it would be best for the public to get the book, but it was about a land transaction. My parents owned land, and it was taken away from them in the daytime, in our face. And when I said on my birthday, my parents were parents of 13 children, but on each one of our birthdays, we had all of their attention. They were too poor to give us toys or had too many kids. They couldn't supply everybody whatever, but they gave us undivided attention on our birthday, which was a lot better than any gadget, any bike, anything else would have worn out. But that attention lasted until now. So that day was just my day to hang out with my parents. And when they were called for a meeting with a group of people and was told that this land is not yours anymore and there's nothing you can do about it, and didn't even allow them to sign their name on it, that became a nightmare for me. And for 65 or 70 years, I couldn't forget it. And I kept asking my parents, how come this happened? How come this happened? And all they would say is, this is just the way America treats us. Meaning, if you're black, you don't have a say-so. Thank God now, at least we got a say-so. If we're mistreated now, we can make a noise about it. We can go to court. But back then, well, 72 years ago, you couldn't go to court. If someone misused you, you didn't have any right to take them to court. I wanted to record all that because my 8 children, I got 4 boys, 4 girls, and they make up out of a single girl, a single boy, and the rest of them is twins. They all graduated from North High School in North Minneapolis. 5 of them went on to college.
Would you take a moment and list their names for us, because many will know their names, remember who they are, so kind of in chronological order, coming from your parents to the siblings, meaning you.
That's easy to do. My firstborn was Gwen, last name Buckner. You don't need to know her other name now. And then my second was Jeannie and Jessie, twins. Their real name, I named them Bessie and Jessie. Bessie was my mother's name, and I had a brother named Jesse, and I think twins' names should match. I'm from the old school, you know. And so
we're on the same page. I have great aunts, Winnie and Minnie.
Oh, okay, we on the same page, for sure. So then Jesse and Bessie, and then Dwight, the only son that didn't have a twin sister. And then come along Patrick and Patricia. They kind of started off spelling alike rather than rhymed. And the next set was Arthur and Aretta. So that's 3 sets of twins, 2 single births, and thank God they all still alive and hopefully doing well.
You handled that business and made it happen. 3 sets of twins.
Yes, 3 sets. Of course, that's not unusual for my family. My father's parents had 2 sets of twins, and one set of those twins was Mary and Martha. And Martha had 3 sets of twins. So it kind of runs, it's part of the DNA. It runs in the family. Of course, when I got married, the older ladies of the church told me I didn't have anything to worry about because I was marrying a man who had a twin sister. And they say twins don't have twins. I say, I don't know where you came from, because the twins in my family reproduce twins. And so I didn't know I was stating my own destiny by talking about it that way. But it just turned out. And I'm happy. I love all of them. I'm happy. I wanted 1 set. I always thought it'd be nice to have a set of twins growing up. But I didn't. I hadn't planned for 3 sets. That was a blessing of the Lord, and I thank God for all of them.
What was that like raising them, the 3 sets of twins?
It was a lot of fun and a lot of headaches and a lot of surprises because twins have a way of getting together, teaming up against everybody else in the house and doing something which I call stupid. But it was out of fun. They didn't do nothing that was harmful to anybody, but they all liked to play jokes on each other. And they would, let me tell you one joke. My youngest set, I was in the house and we had this kitchen sink with the sprayer on it,
Yes.
the spray your dishes or whatever. And so the youngest set of twins decided to get even with the second set of twins because of something that happened. So they went in, the boy took a rubber band and held the sprayer down without the water being on, and wrapped the rubber band around that little level on the sprayer, thinking that the second set of twins, Patricia, was going to walk in and turn the water on in the kitchen sink first. Well, it just so happened I turned the water on, and all of the water hit me in the face. Then they were really in trouble, they thought. But it was so funny to me until I couldn't get mad at them about it. It was just a big joke. And 1,000 things happened like that. Just silly, crazy things that kept us laughing all the time, which was really okay with me. But that's why I say it was a lot of fun. Sure, it was trouble at times. Sure, I ran out of money. I didn't have enough money to buy shoes for everybody at one time. But the God I served always picked up the tab and had a neighbor or somebody to call me and says, my husband got 2 pair of shoes that he don't like. He never worn them. Do you think you boys can wear them? All those kind of things happen. So it was fun. It was headache sometimes. It was trouble, but I enjoyed raising my children. Although my husband decided to leave when my youngest kid was 4 years old. He wanted a divorce, and I said, that's okay, me and God got this one. The Lord is going to help me with it, and he hasn't failed me yet. And my youngest is 55 this year. My youngest children is 55. So I think I'm blessed.
Out of the siblings of your children, are there twins that they fathered, given birth to?
No, none of them had twins. None of them, no.
Did any ever desire having twins?
I don't know. They thought it was too big of a headache. I got some grandchildren now wondering how did I survive. Well, they got 1 or 2 kids and can't hardly make it with them. And they say, how did you make it with 8 kids and 2 sets of twins? The last 2 sets of twins was only 19 months apart. Don't tell anybody that. You didn't hear that, did you? 19 months apart. I see women with a child 3 years old and 1 year old, and they can't do nothing with them. Can you imagine 4 kids under 2 years old? The Lord gave the kids to me, and he gave me the strength and the wherewithal to handle whatever came up, and we got through it. Like I say, it was more fun than trouble raising that family.
What a segue as we wind this up, and we're going to eventually do more of this with this legend in the community. The segue is this, and I'm going to put it just like this because you were talking about what's happening. All right. What's happening in our society today? From your perspective, what's happening within our own backyard, within our homes as a Black people?
Being a person who was raised as a God-fearing person in the church all my life, I see what's happening in America, and I also know the problem with it, with what's happening in America. And say what you want to, disagree if you want to. But our problems, the reason we're having so many problems, because we're not following the Bible. Bottom line is we're not following the Bible. Second Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people, and God calls all of us his people, we are all God's people. And he said plainly, if my people, which are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray and seek my face, here's the catch, and turn from their wicked ways. Then, get the word? If you turn from your wicked ways, then I'll do something about your problem in America. That's where the problem is. Sure, it's a whole lot of things happening. There's a lot of injustice is happening now, but it ain't new. That book tells you it's not new. It's been going on forever. The difference in how we handle it now and how we handle it then is we got through it because we had a lot of time to pray. We did more praying than we did talking. We did more praying than we did protesting. We did more praying than taking people to court. If my people, I'm one of God's, you are one of God's person. If my people, and if each one of us individual find more time to pray than we do, be on these gadgets that's consuming all of our time now, sorry, technology is consuming all of our prayer life. And we don't know how to get in touch with God until we get in trouble. Wait to get in trouble. The schools don't want nobody praying, don't do much praying. People go to church and they stay only for an hour and they out of there, don't have time to pray. And the Lord is saying, if you all go back to praying, I'll take care of you. I'll erase these problems. Just like the children of Israel had to pray their way out of bondage, we as American blacks got to pray our way again out of bondage. Don't start me. I'm about to preach.
No, this is right on point, because you're segueing into another nugget, another area for you to give us your perspective. What's happening in our assemblies? The pulpit can be our homes. It can be the street. Wherever the relevance, the need to intervene comes about, it warrants the voice of God's elect. The voice of God's elect. What's happening in our pulpits today?
I don't want to say nothing negative, but our pulpit has turned into, instead of a soul-saving battleground, it's a business, it's a job, it's a financial stabilizer from the pulpit. We're not looking at it as a place to save souls anymore. Pulpit used to be just a soul-saving station. Now it's who's got the most members and whose bank account is the largest. It's all about how famous I am and how many members I can recruit in. You don't have to be saved no more. Just be a member and pass the offering plate. It's more of a business. Now, I know I came up in a family of preachers. My grandfather was a preacher. My father was a preacher. My uncle was a preacher. My 5 brothers all became preachers, and I started preaching myself, and I got a son that's preaching. I know preaching. And I know it's supposed to be about to go out and get the sinner and bring them in and make them aware of God. Instead, it's about how many members I can recruit and how big is my offering. The pulpit has lost its first love, has left the old landmark that we need to go back to. That's preachers. Preachers.
Now, when we look at in this final segue here. When we look at the validation of our children, connecting them to legacy, connecting them to what is rightfully theirs, inherently theirs. What's different about sharing our history and our legacy with our children today versus sharing with them before?
Well, here's the problem. Here's what makes the difference now. Technology, again, technology is good, but technology has taken the place of communication. How often do you go to a restaurant and sit down and look across from you at a table with a father and a mother and 4 or 5 kids, and all of them is looking at their phone? Nobody's talking. And me with my brave self.
That's a commercial right there. That was a commercial right there. Okay, let's continue.
With my brave self, I was sitting in a restaurant eating, and I insist, if you go to dinner with me, you have to put your phone down. If I'm not important enough to talk to, I'm not important enough to sit and eat with. If you're going to eat dinner with me, put your phone away and let's talk face to face, eye to eye. I was in a restaurant and I saw 7 people sitting at a table. They looked kind of wealthy people, good-looking folks. To me, they looked highly intellectual. And they were sitting there, the father, the mother, and all the youngsters had a gadget in their hand, and that thing was entertaining them. And I stopped them. When I was going out, I stopped them and I said, please forgive me, but I can't help but ask you, why are you all letting these phones do your communication? We're going to wake up one day and not know how to communicate one with the other. And now the phones are good. Nobody can live without them anymore. But they've taken over our lives. I bet you anything, everybody that has a phone never even go any place without that phone in their hand or on them somewhere. They feel like they can't live without it. They don't talk no more. I got 2 great grandkids, 8 and 9-year-old sons living in my house now, and I enjoy it. And I sit down every time we get a chance, I'm telling old stories. And those little boys can come tell you some of the stories that I told them. And they come in, sometimes they all got tablets and iPads and phones, as young as they are. They do FaceTime, Facebook, and all that stuff. But when they get in the kitchen with me, I sit and tell them about what I used to do when I was a kid. How many grandparents is doing that now? We used to let the television babysit our kids, and now everybody got a phone that's babysitting. You're taking care of the phone is replacing all the grandmothers' ideas. I don't think there's many teenagers want to hear what old grandmothers got to say. But that's where the real education is listening to the history. As a matter of fact, the Bible tells us we need to pass our history on. How else will they learn it if they don't learn it from us? That's one of the reasons I wrote the book. I wanted my children to be well aware of my upbringing because my parents had told me about their upbringing. And I say I'd be unfair to my children to not put it, to record it. I had no idea, no clue that I would live long enough to see it all happen. But I started writing. It took me 27 years to put it together. But I got it together, and thank God he left me here to see it. And now all of my children, when they read the manuscript before I sent it to the publisher, some of them was surprised. Mom, this really happened. I said, yeah, I was trying to tell you, but you didn't have time, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. I said, so I decided to put it down. I know you all can read it, and I know you will read it because my name is on it. So if we stop letting technology raise our children, our community, we can get our history alive and well again.
finalize, just take a moment, take 1 minute, maybe two, and this is your thought. How different is our role as women today from your yesterday?
It's a little bit harder as women yesterday. I don't think, well, they didn't quite get the respect that women is getting now. You know, women was supposed to be quiet, stay in the kitchen or in the laundry room yesterday. Now women are doing anything that any human being can do. They're lawyers and doctors and pilots and trained conductors and surgeons and firewomen, the policemen. Women is in every walk of life now that they want to be. Get educated and you can be what you want to be. Now, it was different back then than it is now. And I'm so happy. Why did you ask me this about women? I'm so happy that we got a woman running for president of the United States of America. It's way overdue. Thank God we got a black president and he's about to do his last term, 8 years. American has made history. We got to make history again and put a woman in place. Guess why? Know why I say that? Because there has never been a president of the United States that hadn't been raised by a woman in the first place.
You know what? I think that's a perfect place for us to stop just right there. The value of a woman. Value of a woman. Thank you for joining us. This is an American Black Chronicle. And you are hearing up close and personal with the voice of Dr. Thelma Battle Buckner. So to our SB Barber Morning Show, AM and PM special edition. Wow, we never know why. I think that's why we put that tag on it, special edition, to get it to you in real time. And thank you, Facebook Live listeners, when you're hearing this now, as well as watching it later. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Battle.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this honor.
God bless you.
Until the next time.
All right. There'll be a next time.